All right, so let's get this thing rolling. I always say I'm mostly a beginner as far as track riding goes. Last year in February I had my first track day, and then ever since I did 18 because I get hooked.
Yeah, how do you keep count?
18 days.
Because I keep a log. I'm such a methodical person. Every track day I go, I always have a plan, a checklist, a debrief. So as I come out,
That's the software.
I write, sort of, right? So I gather all my video, all my pictures, all my notes, what tire pressure I was running, what was the weather like, was it windy?
The temperature, windy.
All those things,
Wow.
right? So I know what level I was running, all those things, right? Because then I can actually evaluate my progress. As I gather all of that data, like, okay, I was doing this, my best lap time was that, the average speed, because that's what I count actually more, as more important at track days. It's not the top, the best lap, but the average speed. It's making sure that I'm consistent on every single lap, which is hard on a track day because of traffic, lots of bikes, but stuff like that, right? But I just been doing this and it's been working well for me. So I did 18 this far, 11 in level 1, did 7 in level 2. Let's see, I'll probably hang around level 2 for still quite some time as I get better. So in these meetings, what are these meetings all about? I will not teach you to ride faster because, like I said, I'm just a beginner. Just got started with this. Oh, but you did 25 years of street riding. Whole different ballgame, right? Because on my very first track day, I thought, man, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go from level 1 to 3 like this.
Yeah, that's what we all do, right?
Only not. No, like a couple of laps in, I'm like, holy cow, this is different.
than it looks, yeah.
Right, yeah, it's a whole different beast, right? So I'm not gonna be here to teach anybody to ride faster. I'm not gonna be here teaching riding techniques or any of those things. I'm not gonna be here to do what Ride Smart and those riding schools, do best. You have to learn from their instructors. They actually know what they're talking about as far as riding techniques and all those things. Now, what I can help people with, and I've been doing it, is how do you get ready for track days? What are some learning tips and experiences that I've had to allow me, because it's like riding is a hobby for me. I have a family, I have a day job, I have a bunch of stuff that I have to do. So the little time I have to actually work on my riding, how can I make the most of it? So that when I come out of a track day, like on Sunday, I feel like, man, I've done a lot of progress, and it's not just because I feel like I did. I actually have numbers and evidence that tell me, yeah, you're doing well with the little amount of track time you have and class time with instructors, doing pretty good. So I can help you guys with the things that I've been using that works for me, and maybe that can help you as well. So the agenda here, we're not going to be doing intro to track days. You guys have all been to track days, as I understand. And on the very first meeting we had in January, I spent the entire meeting just talking about the very first track day, giving people all the information needed, everything that I could not find on the Ride Smart's website, for instance. So everything I had to do on my own to figure out by myself, and it was a lot of information. So I said, okay, let me condense that into some material that I can point people to and say, you're getting ready for your first track day? Here. This is the kind of stuff you should know. And if you guys want to check that out or point other people that you may know to that, on my channel I have a Beyond the Track playlist. There I post all of the videos from these meetings, right? So if you want to help out others, just point them there.
That's the channel name? 3 Lap Rider?
3 Lap Rider.
Okay.
Right?
I will subscribe.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Right? And I mean, besides the stuff for Beyond the Track, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I post, like videos from specific tracks, videos from a series that I call Instructor Analysis. So every time an instructor follows me on track and gives me feedback, I edit that video, I add my notes, I add the feedback I got from the instructor, and I post it there, right? Because if you're going to be writing COTA, okay, what kind of stuff did Claudio do there that triggered, feedback from the instructors? Was it the line that was not good through some area, or body position, or whatever it is, reference markers that they showed me. I share that with other people, right? Because our experiences are gonna vary, so I just took the time to, or I take the time to share that with other people. Tips for non-first timers. Learning on and off track is my main thing. Hence the name of this group, Beyond the Track. What can you do beyond the track? Because yes, the best way to really make progress is by riding on the track. Since we don't make a living out of that, there's only so much we can do.
2 days a month at most.
Right? When we are in class with instructors, there's also very limited time. So what else can we do beyond the track? We may be on track, sitting in the paddock, waiting for the next session. What can we do in that time frame? Oh, just chit chat? No, do something, have a purpose, review your plans, right? Take notes, do something about it. And if you're back home, what else can you do to still improve your riding even if you're not at the track? Tips for first timers, one thing that I've added here, because when I asked through the Ride Smarts Facebook page, what concerns or questions people would have about riding at COTA, there was one person who said, what if I'm slower than everybody else on the track? Will I be an obstacle in the track? I mean, how does it work, right? And it's something that I had as a thing in my head on the beginning, because at first it was, okay, I've been doing this for 25 years. There's no way I'm going to be that slow on track, right? Or so I thought, right? And then at another point I was like, okay, what if I am too slow, right? How does it work? Because like on the street, if I'm going faster than other guys, I may do what I did, like I'm going to show you on this little video here.
That's sweet, right? Why are you doing that? Why are you hugging on people? You should hug
Because
people.
I'm a street rider, man. That's what I do. If somebody's slow on track and they're in front of me,
Yeah.
This is edited.
Oh,
This is just.
so that was your first day, Claudio?
That was my first day. The honking the horn,
What
I've
the hell?
added that. I didn't do that.
Okay.
That was just
Ah.
a joke. And I got you.
Why are you doing that? Yeah, okay.
No, that was just me messing with you guys. Let me show how it actually went down that day.
Okay.
Right, so there, first time.
You know what? You're not doing that bad the first time, actually.
Yeah, but like here, you're gonna see some
Probably,
corrections,
yeah.
like mid-corner correction, see?
Yeah.
So instead of just turning in and keeping, I'm like correcting.
I tend to
Not
make-
bad, I mean, I did like my best lap on the first track day,
Oh, so
like
what
2:15 for my first track day, which later I didn't know. Later I thought, it was not actually that bad for the very first time.
No, I-
Yeah.
Turning 2:15. So, and then my answer to that person saying, what if I'm the slowest guy? You're always gonna find people like I was like correcting things on the turn because I was not, confident on how I was turning into the corner. You're gonna run into riders who unfortunately, will go off the track for, whatever mistake they make. That happens,
Yeah.
right? It always happens like,
Oh, yeah, been done
I've
it
done it a
many
few times.
yeah, I've
times.
been,
Many times.
I did
Or-
it last weekend.
right? Or things like this, like you see how bad my line or
He's
lack of
like
line.
way over here.
Like
yeah.
right here. Check this out.
That's
Look
tight.
where the instructor is gonna go and where I stay.
Yeah, he drives way out.
Right? That kind of stuff. That day, it was that thing. And then see, and that was my main point. Regardless as to how slow you think you're going or how fast, there's always gonna be somebody faster than you.
Or
And-
slower.
or slower. And whoever's faster, they will find a way around you.
Yeah.
Right? So they will find a way around you. Well, and the thing is, if you are going there, like that was my first time, right? And I'm doing the street riding thing, right? You come out of a corner, you hug the corner. You don't
Right.
drift away like that.
Mm.
That's just a street riding technique.
Yeah.
Right, so-
Yeah, 'cause you want to turn into your first lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't think, okay, I'm gonna accelerate hard and let the bike drift.
You
No.
need to learn how to drift, yeah.
Right? at that day, for one thing, I didn't know the lines. I didn't do my thing of memorizing the track beforehand. So all day I was trying to figure, okay, do I go right or left after this one? I didn't know, right? So there's a lot of that. So the whole thing, what if I'm too slow? The point is, don't worry about that, right? And the one recommendation, maybe the main recommendation is learn the line, right? There is a line. The instructors will point you out to the line. There are going to be X's on the track. You just have to connect the dots, right? It's like when you're playing a video game with the suggested line on. As long as you stay on that line, faster people will find a way around you. You don't have to, because I've seen people like getting off the line to let faster people go. It's like, no, don't do it. Just stay on the line. That's it. And then again, work with instructors, right? Get them to follow you. They will point out, hey, look, here you're getting off the line, and the way you're doing it, it may be bad because the way you're pointing, if you accelerate hard, you are going to run off track because you're pointing in the wrong direction. That kind of subtlety, the instructors will tell you, right? Or here, instead of doing this way, you should wait just a tad longer to turn in because that way you're going to be pointing in the right direction when you accelerate. So, fine-tuning those things, but always working with the instructors towards that goal. So that was just a quick one thing there for the first-timers who have the same question. And then I've been building this thing up as a, Memoirs of a beginner, the road to intermediate, right? Because starting as a beginner, as far as riding on the track, and moving into level 2, so that's the intermediate group. What has been my road path to get there? Because that's a question that I tend to get from people in level 1. It's like, how do I get to level 2? What are the things that will lead me to level 2, right? And then I told the previous meeting, I'm going to just sort of rush through this, how I got to COTA last year. So first in January, I do my sign up for my first track day. I do lots of research, mostly on how not to be a track day noob, right? What are the main things that people get wrong on their first track day? I shared a lot of that on our first meeting, so everything is documented in the video there. And then in February, I did my first track day, like dirt bike style, right? I was going like motocross style on the corners. Of course, I didn't realize as I was riding. When I saw the pictures and I saw, like the instructor and myself, it's like, holy cow, it didn't feel like that when I was riding, right? Didn't even realize that. But still, I had a blast. And then in March, there was a track day from Ride Smart at COTA. I thought, who, me? Who am I to ride COTA? That's where the big boys ride. I'm nothing, right? That's what I thought. Like, that's not a place for somebody who just got started on that. So I skipped that one and booked April in Crescent. For that one, I forgot to mention, for the first track day, I over-prepared, so I had everything under control, except for one thing. I didn't learn the track beforehand. I didn't watch videos, I didn't look at the track map to understand where the turns go. So when I was there, I spent like 2/3 of the day just figuring out my way on the track. That set me back a long time. I was very frustrated because at one point I thought I was coming out of the launch, I was coming out of Keyhole, and then what the hell is the Diamond's Edge? Is that the Sugar Spice? What the hell is the Sugar Spice? Right, because I'm there and then the instructors are showing the map and talking about the names of the turns, and I'm like, I have no idea what these guys are saying. So that, ever since I nailed that, right? So I did my homework, I memorized the entire track, I knew I could close my eyes and I would know how to draw the track even though I had never been there. So I got that going, I streamlined my preparation, I got ready to camp out, which would be my first time camping at the track, but then, boom, it rains really bad. I go all the way there, but it gets canceled because it was raining that bad, right? So that didn't happen. So did a little jump to June when I went back to MSRH, and then it started raining in the middle of the day. That was my first experience on a wet track.
Oh, nice.
Again, I thought, I've been riding on the street for 25 years. I've ridden in some very real strong grain on cobblestone and all that. So I have that under control. No, not on the track, right? It was very hard to stay upright because it's a whole different ball game riding on a wet track.
It's all about keeping the bike up and then you being you and not the bike. And
Yes.
that's a whole different dynamic.
Yes, and like on the video that I showed that we have on the meeting up as well, like we see this guy like moving and shaking, going really slow. We were going like 15 miles an hour, and the guy's like, and same thing myself. We see on my camera like going into, I think the keyhole, and like I'm putting hardly any input on the bars. I'm not hitting the brakes. I'm very smooth on the throttle, and you still see my front end shake like that, right? Great experience. You know, I enjoyed actually doing that because, you know, just learning about traction and all that. Then we did another jump to October when I finally went back to MSRC, almost rode the rattlesnake, a real rattlesnake, a natural one. You get that? I have the video for that. It's crazy. You see me like swearing in my helmet because I'm like in Portuguese saying, "Holy crap," or something like that. Because yeah, I had just come out of the actual rattlesnake
The
here,
rattlesnake in the track.
and then I'm coming up here where it's that blind crest.
Yeah.
And then when I can actually see something, what do I see? This. Like, wait!
Don't crash there.
Yeah, and I was like,
Don't go
almost
over
on
that.
it. Almost on it.
Oh.
You ran him over or no?
No, but it was,
Just barely missing. Wow.
and then I thought, what if, instead of, because it was here, what if that thing was like right here when I'm leaned over?
Oh yeah, that would have.
Just reach up and grab it.
Heck no, dude, no. For,
Straight up and down, you'd have been fine.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was something. So I have to wait 3 months until my next track day, which happens at TWS. It was my first track weekend, track day weekend, or track weekend, I don't know how to say that. Saturday and Sunday. So I was thinking, can I actually do it? Right, Saturday and Sunday? I don't know if I'm fit for that, right? But still, made it work. It was at the historical TWS. Lots of fun there. Main difference there being that there's no track drive, the thing that we do at MSRH, MSRC, where we get on trucks and we go around the track, and the instructor will tell us each turn, what you have to do, what the line is. Well, at TWS, we didn't have that, right? But I had developed this whole thing to learn the track, right? So in the previous meeting, I showed, you know, how I used the track map like that. I used a video game, an old video game that had that track layout, drone footage, footage from other riders, a mix of aerial view and, you know, rider's point of view type of footage.
Yeah.
When I got to the track, it was like I had been there before. Yeah, I just had to ride it. It was pretty awesome, right? So I took that a step further, and I will talk about that in a little bit, but that was also my first time camping, you know, with my family. There was this whole area where we could go camping. That was pretty cool. Learn how to do that as well. And then finally July came in COTA. So at TWS, the previous track day, my idea still was that I would not ride COTA until I got to level 3. That was my idea, because I thought, I have to be, yes, but my idea was, unless I actually know what I'm doing and I'm fast and I'm in full control of everything, it doesn't make sense to go ride at such a top-notch,
Expensive.
expensive track. That was my idea, right? That's how I thought. But
Still be fun.
it's an idea. So I get to TWS and I'm hanging out with another rider, and I tell him this idea, and he said, dude, you got this all wrong. COTA was my very first track day. It was the one that got me hooked, and that's why I'm doing this every month. But COTA was the one that got it all started. And I said, so you did it in level 1, and I knew that people would do it in level 1, but for some reason I thought it's not worth it. And he said, it's totally worth it. Right? And when I got there, I actually realized, and now I can speak from experience, why it makes all the sense to go there. And that's what this meeting today is all about. Right? So Now, how do I afford that thing? So around June time frame, I got this bonus from work that I was not expecting. And it was enough to cover for, COTA. And I was like, oh, I got this bonus, what do I do? And then my wife said, write COTA. Wait, what? Yeah, because she also loves, bikes and everything. She said, go for it. You like it, go for it. It's not gonna mess with, our family's budget or anything, go for it. So I signed up for the weekend, right? And when I signed up and I got to this screen where it confirms your, that you signed up, I'm like, holy cow, I'm doing this, man. I can't believe it, right? I took a snapshot and I saved it because I said, this is historical for me, right? I signed up to ride at a MotoGP track. Oh my God, right? In my poor, growing up life in Brazil, I would never ever expect that one day I would be able to do that, right? Thanks, America. Living the American dream, right? So then I hear about garage. Oh, there you can actually use the garage that Marquez and Rossi and those guys use.
For $600.
Well, no,
You
75
share.
bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's 75 bucks for the day.
Did you share with 15 guys or something, right?
No,
Oh, you
each
get your own
garage
parcel?
has 6 spots.
Oh, sick, okay.
It's enough, you see, to be very comfortable, right? Because you put your bike there, so there's 6 spots, right? And then, of course, more garages, because then they keep it somewhat open, instead of having, Yamaha, Honda, where they close.
Yeah.
Here you have maybe 24 slots with them all open, but it's very well organized, and they delimit the area for people to, ride through, and everybody has their own space, and then you can see like the grandstand like that, which is pretty cool, right? You can roll your bike outside, and now you're on the pit lane, and you're looking at that. It's like, that is as close to being one of our heroes you can get, right? You cannot get to ride their bike. You don't get to have their skills, but man, you have your bike to ride there. This is pretty cool. This is really cool, right? You look, and then you see turn 1, right? That big uphill.
Hairpin.
Man, I got goosebumps. When I put my head there, it's like goosebumps. I'm like, I don't believe that I'm here. That's
I've been there
outstanding.
3 times, but not to ride, obviously.
It's crazy good, right? So then you have the garage there, right? You have all your space. I bring all my junk, my scooter, because it makes it easy for me to move around. I've seen people using this before, that's why I got it. And a lot of people have been getting because they see me, using this thing around, because walking with those boots, not fun.
Mhm.
And when it's like 90, 95 degrees outside, you don't want to do a lot of walking. This helps a lot, right? So I bring all my stuff here, I have enough space, I have the chairs, for me, for my family. Even like if the kid comes by, he's there playing with my stuff, their family's there. That to me was very important, right? Because my family supports this kind of stuff. So for me, it was like 75 bucks to have this experience and have my family with me here comfortable. Yes, any day, right? Well worth it. So that was pretty cool.
So do the garages have plugs and electrical hookups?
Yes.
And all that? Okay, so you don't need to bring a generator and all that?
No.
Okay, good.
Another big thing, right?
And how many hookups for everybody?
Exactly. So that was pretty cool. So got that all out of the way, let's get ready, right? So there's no track drive there. You don't get on trucks to drive around COTA, right? So there's gotta be other ways for you to actually learn the track before you get there. 3.4 miles, it's a lot of track to digest. 20 turns, how do you memorize all those turns? You have to work before you get there. Because if you try to figure that out when you get there, you're gonna waste your day. You're gonna just waste your day, right? So what do? I create my little checklist of things I'm gonna use to research. So I did some research, and then I found a bunch of videos, maps, whatever. Anything that I found, I've created as a checklist for, okay, I need to check this, check this, check this. And what are those things? I'm gonna be sharing those with you as well. right? So yeah, got the map, you know, just a flat map. That one, very useful. You get the number of the turns,
Easy,
right?
The hardest, yeah.
That's the easy one, right? So you start by memorizing that. See what those turns look like. Oh, that's a very sharp one. Oh, here we have the S's, the back straight, right? Get familiar. So when people say, yeah, did you see, man, those guys, you know, how hard they break at, you know, turn 12? Which one is that one?
Yeah.
It's the end of the back straight, right? You just know. Oh, when they were going through 16, 17, 18, you know, it's a triple apex, the right-hander, you know, right, back, whoops, here, right? You have to get used to those because that's what the instructors are going to be saying, right? They're going to be talking about the number of turns. If it takes you time to put yourself, okay, because when you see it like this, it's just an S on a flat map. When they say turns 3 through 6, you have to picture yourself going through those turns as they are talking so that you can actually position yourself. Oh yeah, when they say I have to find a straight shot through the S's, you have to see it in your head as opposed to just seeing it here because it does not translate. If you just see it from above like this and then you're there on the track, it's like, what did they say again? Right? You have to bridge this gap. And how did I do that? I'll show you. Just that one, I was not happy with just that one. I got the satellite view. Why is this one important? Well, because with this one I can see, oh yeah, that's where we enter the track, right? Get out, bam. Here's, you know, the S's, oh, all that blue stuff. You recognize that when you're on the track. Because when you're going through this, the first couple of times, it's a little bit unsettling. It's weird, right? Because you're used to seeing like a bunch of like grass and whatever around you. Here you see, you know, these blues and whites. It's weird. Because you're coming fast, it looks like you're gonna get off track because they are so close and they come so fast. It takes time getting used to that.
Is it just paint on the track for decoration, or what is that?
That's the American flag. The way they've designed is like, it's like, you know, it's like flying, and there's elevation changes. So as you go through the S's, it goes like this. So it goes like this and like this. It's amazing, right? So that's why it's like, okay, now I don't see those, oh, just the S's. In my head, oh, I know exactly what that is. The elevation changes, the changing direction, right? So this kind of map helps me with that, right? Or seeing it here as well. Oh, that's the triple apex right-hander, right? And it has all the, you know, the colors of the flag there. Now, can you guys spot one thing that shouldn't be on this picture?
Shouldn't.
Yeah, there's one thing that's awfully wrong that shouldn't be on this picture.
The white part?
Let me zoom into it. Whee!
There's a
Flag.
plane out there? What the hell?
And it's going the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that just happens to be that by the time I took this snapshot on Google Maps,
It was like your Playboy
A
no.
plane
there was
flies
a
over.
plane flying because
That's right next to the airport.
when you are landing in that airport, you go right over the track.
Okay.
And it showed like this. And then last night I tried to see it. It's not like that anymore. They've updated the
Yeah.
satellite image yet.
Yeah.
But since I had it saved, because I thought, wait, what? When I saw it, it's like, what?
Is that a plane?
Yeah. You can take a plane off from there?
Yes, like that's crazy. It was like, I don't know, emergency landing or something. So I got that. I got this, which is MotoGP 14 on the Xbox. Because
That's
when
the
you
first
get to
year
the
they have-
track, yeah, when you start the race at the track, they show you this kind of view, which I like because it's another way that you can watch, that you can see the track. You can see the back straight, right? You can see turn 12. You can see that weird section between 13 and 15, right? You can see the exit to the triple apex right-hander. It's another way to see the track. You know, the more you can see it, the better you're gonna be memorizing it. There's another video on YouTube, I'll get you guys a link, which shows the Formula One speeds through those corners.
Yeah.
I like it just because, again, you can see like turn 12, going through 13, through 15. It's, again, another way to see the track. but the speeds are ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
just
they're
like,
faster
not
than we
fit
can do
for
on
mortals.
bikes.
dude, that's just like, no. There's no way that they're gonna be doing like that hairpin at 86 kilometers an hour, which is, I don't remember in miles what that is, but it's,
Like 50 something.
I found this one also to be interesting with the elevation, right? Because it's not just a flat thing. You can see, you know, where you go up, where you come down, right? The elevation changes through the S's. Turn 10, where there's another drop, right? You can see the back straight, where you see on the flat map, it looks like it's flat, but it's not. You actually go down, go up, and then go down again,
Yeah, like 140 feet or whatever.
right? And you don't quite realize that. And this, I like this map because it shows that kind of stuff. Or even like from here, right? How you come down and down and then up. For TWS, I showed this drone footage that I found. So a guy took a drone and did the whole track from above. So I used that to learn the track. For COTA, you can use Google Maps. You can essentially click and say, okay, go, go,
Oh, really?
Go.
You can go all the way all the time?
all the way around.
Pretty neat.
I'll get you guys the link. That's what I did. I took the whole thing, turn by turn, and took snapshots or screenshots
Yeah.
of what I was seeing. Because that's the thing. When you get on this front straight, if you're looking down and you're pegged, the sensation of speed is like, holy cow, I'm going really fast. And then next thing you know, you already have to brake. If you get to it and you look up, that's what you see. It's where you're going. So you know how hard you can, you know, drive out and where you have to brake to. Not where you have to start braking. Well, I have to brake to this area here so I can make turn 1. Right? So always looking up. And when I look up, what do I see? That's what you see. Get used to it. Right? Oh yeah, there, you don't see where it goes. Well, yes, because when you get there, you shouldn't be looking that way. You should be looking this way.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are people who just, they blow right through this because you're coming really fast. It's like, that's where I'm going, that's where I'm going. Oh my God, oh my God. Why are you looking there? You should be looking there.
Yeah.
Right? And this kind of stuff is important. You know, it's the famous where do you look? I found this other one which gives me a lot of information. This is a video from a guy in level 2. I love it because I get the map, so I can see where he is on the track. I can see what it looks like. So when I get to turn 1, what does it look like for me when I'm riding? Well, this is what it looks like. Again, you don't look that way, you look that way because that's your apex, right? I can see like what kind of speed
He's going.
right? Just, you know, ballpark. And even more important, I can see the axis, right? So I mapped the whole thing. I watched this whole video, took snapshots, had a printed version of the track map, and I put the axis where RideSmart puts those axes,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
And then I kept watching this video
Right,
because I
yes.
know when I get there,
Yeah.
that's where the axes are gonna be. I just know where they are because in some cases you're not gonna get to see them until you're really close to them, because they're like in a blind crest or something like that.
Yeah.
So you just have to know that they are there, and that helped me quite a bit, right? So, and I've created a link for you guys that I will give you access to, right? Where I've listed all of these resources, right? Why I've used these resources, plus some other videos that I've used, right? So from other riders who have documented their experiences at COTA, the COTA official like 1 lap around the track. Now that one is really fast.
So that's like an ex-racer doing it, right? He's,
Yeah.
He's booking it.
It's like, nah. It's beautiful to see, but it's like I cannot use that. I cannot relate to it because that's so
It's way too fast.
Because you're
beyond
not
my
riding a
pace.
1299 Panic Alley Super Link.
Yeah, you cannot quite relate to it, right? This other video that I found here,
Oh,
I use quite a bit, which is a 20-minute long video. It's an entire session where a RideSmart instructor was communicating with one student using their Sina devices.
yeah. Oh.
So I've learned a lot from it. Because as the student is doing things, the instructor is saying, oh,
Yeah.
here you have to drive out, you know, harder, here you have to brake earlier, here you can go gas, 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 whatever. It's like, oh. So every time I'm getting ready to go to COTA, I watch that video again, once or twice, just to have some things in mind that I can try. Invaluable resource. There's this one where Colin Edwards, the first year that we had MotoGP at this track, they got Colin Edwards to go around the track and talk about the characteristics of the track. Now, when asked, so Colin Edwards, what do you do to learn a track? His answer?
PlayStation.
They also do that, right? So when I'm there playing, you know, my Xbox on those tracks, learning the track, I feel good because I know that,
Memorize every
Some
turn, you know?
yeah, right? And of course, like I said, I created like a playlist with a whole bunch of videos from my experiences at COTA, and it's not just like taking the video straight off my bike cam and uploading. I always like edit them, I put, you know, I draw things on it, I have some voiceover to explain why is this important, why am I telling you these things? Because it's based on the things that I've learned. Like for instance, how did I shave off 17 seconds from the first weekend that I was in COTA to the second weekend? 17 seconds, right? How did I do that? Just use your brakes and your throttle harder. That did it, right? Just go for it, man. And then of course, practice with whatever you have. Like I go to my garage, I put my bike on a stand, I sit on it, I put my iPad with videos from other guys riding COTA, and as I sit there practicing body position, the guy turns left, I'll turn left. Right, and go. Oh, now he's on the, you know, the end of the back straight. He's going like this to go hard on the brakes, and then he leans into the corner. I'm following that, because that way I'm getting the practice on my legs, because that's what we really should feel when we're riding and not on the arms. Exactly, and also the thing, you know, if they're following somebody, I can see where is it that he's actually sliding off the seat. And when there's like maybe 2 left turns in succession, you can get to see them like sliding off and staying on the left. Because that's a mistake that I used to make, where you slide to the left, and then a little bit of straight, I would be centered, and then move again to the left. No, you just stay there, right? And then doing this, I started getting that in my head. So that was, and of course, not following like Mark Marquez or any of those guys. I usually, when I was in level 1, I would watch level 1 videos, level 2 sometimes, which is just a little bit faster. Nowadays I'm in level 2, so I watch level 2, a little bit of level 3, you know, just something that you can relate to. Because sometimes for the first time you're out there, you're not getting a lot of advantage of doing this. But once you've been at the track and you keep doing that, it changes the way you plan your track day. Like last week, always before going to a track day, I review my own footage, my last footage at that track, so that I can see how I was doing, what my pace looked like, where was I braking, where was I accelerating, is there anything I can try here or there, and I take notes. As I do that, I look or I watch videos from, say, level 3 guys. And I did that last week, watching on my big screen. When I switched over from my own video, I saw myself like holding my breath, right? Because they were coming in so fast in some corners. And because it was like, I was putting myself there, I felt, okay, this is where I feel like I'm accelerating. This is where I feel, you know, that I'm braking. And then seeing those guys doing that, when they approach places where I would already be like braking, so I would already be leaning like that, they were like full speed into like the rattlesnake or something like that. I'm like,
Are you freaking kidding me?
you can't make it!
And then they do.
And they do it, right? But it's interesting to do this kind of exercise because it starts conditioning your mind.
It's muscle memory, though.
It's muscle memory, right? And you're training your mind to say, okay, whenever you are actually there doing it, this is what it looks like. You don't get the feel for the elevation changes or the G-forces, but your mind is already consuming that information and getting used to it, right? May sound like crazy talk, but man, that has been working for me. That's why,
That seems brilliant.
yeah, it is pretty cool. Of course, the game, right? So if you haven't seen that game, so that's the MotoGP 14, which was the one I found when I was looking for this kind of stuff. But it's interesting because it shows you the line, which is, of course, that's the MotoGP line, but it's very close to the one that we ride with Ride Smart.
Okay.
There are a couple of differences, but for the most part, it's very similar. Like here, turn 6 is a double apex, you hit this apex, drift to the middle, and then drift back in. It's the same thing. So you can use that to learn. And that's good because when you're watching somebody else's video, you're not actually doing it yourself. You're not turning right or left from your own wheel. Here, you are doing it. So you are turning left. You are turning right. It just, again, conditions your brain, right?
So
To
the
get
game
used
thing
to it.
is very useful actually.
What?
The game thing is very useful.
It is, right? Of course, I mean, it feels all clunky. It's very weird. It's not the same thing as riding a bike. But the exercise of here I turn left, here I turn right. It's good.
Yeah, how hard and
Right? And you can actually sort of see where there are elevation changes, where you go up, where you go down, right? That kind of stuff.
And it doesn't seem right that you're riding a bike with a 19,000 RPM red line and, 250 horsepower.
Right? So there, exactly. So there is that, but yeah, look, like this line is exactly what we do. We drive off and then back.
Yeah, it's the double apex.
Now there's one thing here, and then the triple apex. Doing this, there's one thing that you don't have to worry about when you're riding at COTA for real, which is this guy here. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, you don't have to worry about him like running into you or anything like that. Like that.
You and shoving you off there.
Right. He will do that.
Right. He will do that. You don't
Yeah,
have to worry about
doing
that.
thing anyway.
Yeah, we've all watched it, right? Right, what else? Like I said, going there with the family, we all goofing off. That was pretty cool. And then, before we go there, there was a question, do we camp out there like we did at TWS? And I said, well, I don't know if there is a place to camp there. So I started I didn't find much useful information. I started watching people's videos to see when they come out of the track, what does it look like? What does the paddock look like? And then I saw that it was all concrete like this. I'm like, I don't think our tent setup is gonna work
Camp there, yeah.
there, right? So, yeah, it's like, what do I do? But then later, again, when we are goofing off here, notice up there on the right, I can zoom into it.
Yeah, there's a tent.
That's where some guys will camp. There's this, I don't know how many feet, a little strip of grass, it's enough for, but not a lot of people. Like 2 or 3 at the most is what I've seen there. So every time I've been to COTA, because it's such a badass track and I want to make the most out of it, I end up staying at a hotel. I found like the cheapest hotel that I can find, which is like 15 minutes away, usually by the airport. Right? Not a badass hotel, but I don't care. I just need the bed and a nice shower, and that's it. That's been my option, as opposed to camping out there. When you're out there, make sure to see the sunrise. It's amazing. Because some people don't realize that the sunrise right by the observation tower, it looks awesome. The picture does not do justice. When you're there, it looks amazing. It's really cool. Another thing that to me was like mind-blowing, when I parked there, and then I looked and I saw turn 1. Man, that also gave me goosebumps. We just parked there and I looked like, you know? Like, I'm in the temple.
So if you want to set up your stuff not in the paddock places but out there, how do you hear the calls? Because I'm guessing that's far away from the...
You do hear because they do have the PA system
Speakers
out there,
on, yeah.
and actually sometimes it's easier to hear it outside than in the garage.
No way.
Because of the way that, reverberates the acoustics.
Yeah.
I see myself like walking like to the entrance of the garage to actually be able to hear
To
it.
hear the call.
Yeah. Also, like sticking your head there and in the pit wall,
Of
and
course.
that's pretty
With
awesome.
the
Just-
banners for the riders to when they pass by with the
yeah,
messages.
you just get there. It's like I've made that picture. I put my head there and I did this. That's pretty awesome, right? I have something to tell my grandkids, right? So that was pretty cool. Of course, another thing that was a big one for me with my family is that they could just sit here and watch, see the bikes go by really loud. Here's an area where, AC running, that's where we have the classroom set up, and the family members can actually get in there because there's plenty of space for them to just sit, relax, enjoy, do whatever, read. There's plenty of space. It's very
It's
nice.
top-notch facility, yeah.
Yeah, it's top-notch facility, for sure. Right, from there they can like see you about to get on the track, so that's pretty cool. Tech inspection, slightly different than on the other tracks where you can get it done in the morning. They also allow you to do the night before, which I recommend, because since it's 4 groups, each group running like, I don't know, 60 bikes or something like that, there's
Takes
a
time to-
lot of bikes. It
to
takes
check.
time.
Yeah.
So I always get
Good
there the
idea.
day before, I get tech inspect done, wait in line for like 2 minutes or whatever. Much better than, you do it the next day. Like the first time I was out there, they didn't like the slack that I had on my chain. No, the slack that I had on my chain. They said you have to loosen, lose up the chain a little bit.
It's too tight.
It's too tight for that track. And I said, really? Because I've been running track days with you guys. They said, yeah, I know, but with this setup, yeah, I know, but on this track, you will max that out. This is a fast track. It will stretch the heck out of it.
Break, maybe.
Right, so if I had to do that in the morning, it would throw me off, right? I would be all stressed out, I would
Trying to
lose
hurry.
focus, start hurrying. Since that happened the night before, I had the time to actually take care of that, go to bed, have a nice night of sleep.
So they do a different level for 1.5. So they have 1, 1.5, 2, and 3 instead of running 1 and 1.5 together.
No, 1, 1.5 together.
Okay.
Level 2 is split, being 2B basic, 2A advanced,
Oh, okay.
right? And then level 3.
So how do the sessions work? Are the sessions then 15 minutes long?
20 minutes. It's still 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so it just stays longer.
Then
then.
Right.
it's run longer, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
you
it's
still
4
get the
hours.
same number of sessions, provided that, there are no huge amount of red flags and stuff, you still get your 6 or 7 sessions a day,
Okay.
right? Something that I always do, if you stay in the garage, if you don't choose to rent a spot in the garage, you can stay on the paddocks, you set up your tent, your canopy, whatever, that's all good. So if you go with a garage, they are gonna put the names of people on each slot that has been assigned to you. I always take pictures of it because I end up like getting to talk with the people, and then later I'm like, okay, what was the name of that guy again? I have it here. Right, so this guy was named Joe and this other one was Paul. I can put names to faces to the bikes, and then next time around, it's just start building this relationship with other riders. That's always useful. You get tips, you get help when you need, you get to help other guys. So that's just a practice that I do. For every time that I go out there, I take a picture of that and I store with my track day debrief. Riders meeting, same thing like we have in the other tracks. Always go to it because you get to hear all the important announcements as well as like the track condition, right? So last year, I think it was in November, the track in the morning was really cold, right? So they said, take it really easy in the morning. It will come in later, but in the morning it's very slick because it's cold. Make sure to check your tire pressure and all that. There was one session where one rider riding out of the pit lane into turn 1 went down.
Oh, jeez.
New tires running 40 pounds on each tire,
Oh, jeez.
right?
Good mistake.
I don't know if the guy was at the riders meeting, but everybody was there, was reminded, hey, check your tire pressures. That's extremely important at this time of the day,
Yeah.
right? So
Always better off with them a little low than
exactly.
over like that.
Exactly.
Right.
So you always see me like sitting way up front because I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear anything important. So that's that. So then the big moment for me there, right? My round robin. Do you like my round robin?
Yeah.
Right. So round robin, big moments. You know, I'm hitting the track, man. I can't believe it. So in this little section, I will show you how you enter the track, how you exit the track. You have to be aware of the pit lane, the hot pit lane, you know, getting on the track, the white line that separates things, I'll show you. A tip I got from one instructor there, run the whole round robin in a single gear. Pick like second gear or third gear or whatever, do the whole thing in a single gear. Just to get used to controlling the bike just with the accelerator. And try not to use the brakes, that was the other thing. Run one gear and try not to use the brakes.
That's hard to do on a 250.
Right,
You're
right.
pretty much gonna be rowing all six.
Right, but that was a tip that one instructor gave me that I've adopted ever since, because it really helps you just with throttle control, right? To make sure that you actually practice that. And then getting back to the garage. So let me show you what it looks like. So first things first, notice that, which Dave always mentioned, you see the white line,
Oh,
right? Yeah, the sun, yeah.
it's right
In the
my
morning,
eyes,
it's
yeah.
right on your eyes. But white line, never ever cross it, right? Because this is the end of the main street. There can be people coming down at 170 miles an hour. If you cross that line, they're gonna hit you, and that's gonna be ugly,
Very ugly accident.
right? So never ever cross that line. It goes all the way up here. Once it's over, do not move over to the right to get on the line and then tip in. No, just stay on the left, cut the, you know, clip the apex, take it from there. Because some people, they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna, you know, speed up here, I'm gonna go all the way over there and then back. Why? You're just coming out of the pit. Why are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
Right? And this is one of the few tracks, if not the only one, where it's actually recommended for you to look behind. Right? As you're coming out here,
You're coming up, yeah.
you know, look down the track to see if there's incoming tomahawks or something, right? Yeah. Dude, I mean here, you can speed up and you can be like at 80 miles an hour easily here, right? But still, we're gonna have to slow down right here, right? That's a 40-mile,
And you have guys
You
like
know.
coming twice your speed anyway.
Yeah,
Exactly.
even Still, right?
yeah. So very, very careful there. Right, so coming out there, there's no, nothing special about it. And I'm gonna
How
let
did
it,
you drift right then?
Oh, and then you're there, okay.
Once you
Yeah.
clip the apex, you cut into the
So
line.
now
yeah, you enter the line. You're
Okay.
clipping the apex, you're already on the line,
Okay.
right? So there's no reason to rush to the right. I'll move over to the end part of this thing here where there's the switch between who's following the instructors. Because that, yeah, a bunch of people get that wrong, you know, amazingly enough. Yeah, so right here, that's how they always do. When you get on turn 20, main straight, that's the thing that, the way it should always work. Instructor will give the signal, the guy will move to the left and back, not to the right. Because once in a while, there's people who are gonna try to move over to the right and then back. You move over to the right, you're on the candy stripe, right? So always move over to the left, because that's where the line is, right? You clip that apex, you drift to the right, and then you move over to the left, go to the back of the line. And never pass instructor, because once in a while that does happen.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Where people just take off and pass instructor, like, what the hell?
You're learning the line.
Yes. Right, so here, I'm gonna let it run and sort of talk through some of the things that caught my attention going there.
So you're far right before clipping the apex on one.
Far right, and
Way
then
far.
there's gonna be an X here, and an X like right in the middle,
Yeah.
where you're gonna aim to that X, because that X is gonna
That's why
take you to the
initiate,
apex
yeah.
on this sharp turn. And it's really sharp.
And yeah, you can't really see anything, it just kind of disappears at the red
Yeah.
line.
right? So the X is gonna be like right here, and then the apex, and then here's a decreasing radius, right? Because you're gonna be going down this way, okay? Right? Yeah, so turn 2, so this is delicious, man.
Where are the columns, dude?
Yeah,
Windy, huh?
yeah, it was windy that day. Right, so getting into the S's, right, the whole flag thing. Here you have to try to do as straight of a line through the S's instead of like moving like that. You should try to go straight as much as possible.
So you don't really shift position on your seat, you just move your body?
Well, you do, yes, you do move your body, you do change position, you have to, but you try to, to hold a straight line in between the apexes.
And the first S's are a lot easier than the second.
Yes.
It's like an easy S, and then it's a long sweeping right, and it's
I
a
was
harder
watching a
S.
graphic, yes, and some kind of more
Yeah.
sharper the sequence.
Yeah, that's always where I sit when I go to the MotoGP.
Yeah.
I always sit right there.
Right.
You get a good view of everything. or most-
Yeah.
The back straight?
No, not the back straight.
Yeah, that's.
Right, and then here.
And there's another hairpin right before the
Yeah, so there's
back
4,
straight, and then there's a hairpin
hairpins.
at the end of the
there's
back
5
straight.
hairpins, yes.
Wow, jeez.
So this is the second one, right, into the back straight. So yeah, turn 1 is a hairpin, 11 is a hairpin, 12 is a hairpin,
And then you got the
and then
Z,
15 and 20.
the funky Z.
Yeah. So here, last time I was out there, we don't stay on the right like this. We transition to the middle because on the right there are like some bumps that when you're going like 140 miles an hour, you actually feel it. So you see on MotoGP, they go left and they come back to the right. It's because of those bumps on the right.
Ah, that's what they're complaining about, those
Yeah.
bumps, okay.
Yeah.
I was
Because
wondering, like,
that
how could it be
speed.
bumpy already?
I was just
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, I mean, that's a brand new
4
truck.
years old.
How come
Well, it's
bumpy already?
6 years old now, right?
Oh, has it been 6? Really?
Yeah, 2012.
12? Okay.
2012.
Did they do MotoGP on that first year?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first
that
one.
was a big deal because they finished it like
Yeah.
a weekend before the race or 2 weeks before.
Oh,
Right.
really? I didn't know.
It was
This
like
is a
you
weird
have to
hairpin
finish
right
it,
here.
yeah, it was like right.
Yeah, this is that funky Z I was talking
Yes.
about. It's kind of like a curvy Z or.
To me, it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Personally, it's the one that I have the most trouble with.
Under the triple epics, right? That's coming
And
out.
there is the triple apex. It's delicious. I mean, you can do like, I don't know. Last time I was there, I was doing like 90 miles an hour
Oh,
through
dude.
this
Yeah,
thing,
you
and
can
I've
see
and
that.
I've been passed by people leaning over on the outside.
Man.
But it's
Yeah.
delicious, man.
Yeah.
Alright.
You lean and you go. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention here that some people get confused there is where you indicate that you're going to be pitting in. It's essentially coming out of this turn 15 here. Right, so you exit here, there's going to be one track marshal here waving his flag, another one here. This is where you should put your left hand up, right, and through before the section. Because
Okay.
right after you're gonna have the pit entrance, right?
Oh
And-
yeah, because you pit before that last turn. Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens here is, right, you clip this apex, you do the line where you drive and then back to the right. You're gonna clip to the apex here, and then since you're gonna be pitting in, you don't drive right, you stay on the left. Because some people will drive right and then cut to the inside when somebody's gonna try to pass,
I would totally do that.
and then it gets fuzzy.
Yeah, that happened in
Because
the
you had
sorry.
that quick entrance
Yeah.
right there.
And that, because people, I mean, that turn 19, pretty quick turn. And if you do this, it's gonna get nasty. So just stay on the left for that thing. Coming back into the thing, if you're gonna be on the garages, you have 2 options. You just stay here, you enter the garage this way, or you enter here
Go to the back.
and
of
then
the
through the
garage.
back.
Yeah.
And if you're staying at the paddocks, same thing, it's just behind there. Never drive through the garage if you're staying at the paddock, because that's extremely rude.
Huh.
Yeah, and once in a while you get some bozos that will try to do that.
No respect.
Yeah, just no respect. All right, so that was round robin, right? So you get to go slow, that's pretty cool. and then I go for my first free session after round robin. First timers at that track take precedence with instructors. So instructors, when they hand out the jerseys, they will say, who's here for the first time? And go there because they're gonna, pay attention or give attention to you exclusively for that session. All my preparation paid off because when I went out that first free session, it's like I had been on that track several times before. I knew the line, I knew where things went, I knew what references to look for. It was pretty awesome. I took lots of notes based on what the instructor gave me as feedback, and I'll share with you, what kind of feedback he gave me, so that, when you are out there, you're not gonna make the same mistakes that I was making. So this is the way I have the video set up, so you can see the instructor's view, my own view, so you can see what I'm actually seeing there. Right, so going into turn 1, that was the first part of feedback he gave me. So as I tipped in and I did this part, he stopped when we were back in class analyzing the video. He asked me, where were you looking right now? And I said, well, I was looking at the apex. He said, you should look further.
Yeah.
Once you found the apex, once you know that you're gonna hit it, look for the next thing. And in this case, you're gonna really go like this, because you're gonna look for the following thing.
Right, look up around the corner there.
Up around the corner where they have whatever advertisement on that overhead thing. What's going on? Oh, right here. Stop. Right? That's what you should be looking for. Even before hitting that apex, you should already be looking for this thing, which you have to look like that, and it's like almost behind you. You really have to twist your neck to actually see it, right? So here on the big one, there's an X here. You found the apex, you know you're gonna hit it. Instead of look at the corner exit, right? You have to already start looking at that, because you're gonna know it's a decreasing radius. You're gonna be like coming backwards, sort of thing, right? So that was the first feedback he gave me there.
Wow, that's pretty difficult, huh?
It is.
As you're like way over and you're trying
Yeah.
to look.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So you're looking for that thing there, right? Some sort of
It's a banner, yeah.
advanced banners or whatever it is at that time of the day, right? So we look for that kind of stuff. So there, it was cool. Here he gave me a little bit of feedback, like here, this line that I took, it's almost like the MotoGP line where they don't go all the way, they stay in the middle. Our level, we actually drive off and then back to center, right? So you can drive really hard to the left, to the edge, and then just aim to the middle of that bridge thing. Now one thing here, notice that when you look like this, you don't see where it goes, right? So it's like, okay, once I'm
A little disconcerting.
yeah, it is, right? Because it's like, am I gonna go straight? No, it's a left. When you actually get to see something, it's a left. You're not seeing the apex right here, right? So you
have to go
learn.
up on the hill kind of, and then
Yeah,
you
so
see.
now I know that even though I'm not seeing, when I get to a certain marker, I know that I have to tip in. Even though I'm not seeing the apex, I know that like a millisecond later, it will be right there, right? And if you are not leaned over already, you're gonna,
See, like,
it's gonna be too late. That's the thing that they all say about these S's. If you mess up here, which is turn 3, it's gonna go messed up all the way through 6. There's no way
It's
to
like
fix it.
rattlesnake, the same thing. If
Yeah.
you mess up the entrance, you mess up the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way to fix
I
it.
hate that. When I messed it up, it was so much frustrating.
Yes. Right, so there. See? That's where the X is, but I couldn't see it before. So you have to be tipped in. Look how far I am from the
So
apex.
as soon as you see it, you kind of ride up and then.
Yeah, you don't.
Roll up.
Yeah, so you shouldn't like wait to see it. You have to just trust it will be there.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how many laps you are into it, the thing will always be there.
So basically you see, as soon as you see the hill starting to crush, you need to go.
That makes you know.
Yeah, and you know it's just a little bit past that bridge thing. So once you're about to get on the bridge, tip in. It's gonna be there.
Yeah,
Right?
because
That's
he's
where you're
before the
going.
bridge and he's already leaning in.
Exactly. Right?
That doesn't look like a very sharp corner.
It's not.
No, those are
It's
the
not.
easiest.
It's very smooth, but you have to hit it because once you hit that apex, you're gonna go straight. You're not gonna be doing this. You're gonna try to go straight from apex to the next one. Right, so if I keep this guy rolling, right, so that's the first one. Look at the next one. It's a straight shot, right? Same thing for the next one. It's pretty much a straight shot.
Yeah, a little lean, but.
Little bit lean, yes, right? And then here's a double apex. You hit the first one, drive, and then back. Here's another bit of feedback he gave me. Normally, not on that day because they forgot to put, but normally there's an X right behind this apex here. It's right behind. It's not at the apex, it's right behind it. But you cannot see it. As you're coming at speed, you cannot see it. So the instructor's feedback was you aim at the apex.
Yeah, because he's
Pretend-
tipped in and you're far out.
Yeah, pretend that you're gonna actually hit the candy stripe, but you're not, right? You just aim at it, you look at it, so that you can get pretty close to where the X is gonna be, right here behind the thingy, on the corner, right there. Yeah, so normally it is like right here, the X. So you wanna be close, why? Because you wanna stay on the right
For that next one.
for the next left, right? Here there was one feedback from, or actually something I heard from Ty Howard. This is the first real left corner after a long time that you've been doing right turns. So your tires are gonna be towed on the left. So he said it's the corner where you see the most crashes.
Ah.
For people who are not aware of that, it's like I've been doing like right hard corners, nothing on the left. This is the first one, and you go hot into it, you're gonna lose traction there. So it's one corner to be aware of.
What corner is that one?
That is 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah. And then here, turn 8 is uphill. So the feedback here was, when you approach a corner and you lean into it, you already are losing speed, naturally. This is uphill. So you can get on the throttle way sooner than you would expect. Right? As you tip in there, you should already pretty much be light, but already on the throttle to pick up all the momentum that you're losing there. To keep up the momentum. Right? You hug this is a late entry turn, and then from here, you should already, start driving hard to make turn 9, right? Stay on the right. Not how I did bad. You should stay on the right. And here's an interesting section because you have to drive hard. It's gonna push you to the right, and then turn 10, blind apex, right? You cannot see. It is here.
Yeah.
Believe me, it is here. It will always be there. And you have to aim for it. You have to commit. You have to lean into it even though you're not seeing it, right? And you have to do it because after that there is a longer stretch of straight, and you want to be hard on the gas, right? So there, now you see it, right? And then you see, oh,
yeah.
that's where I'm going,
I can see that's the first one.
right? So you really want to commit, balls to the walls,
Yeah, similar like those Ricochet actually.
similar to Ricochet, but
Smooth.
smooth.
So much fun.
Yeah, but
So
smooth.
much fun.
Here, another bit of feedback. Instructor said you're tipping in a little too soon. You can wait a little longer so that you can actually get back on the throttle when you are like right around here. Even before the apex, you should be on the throttle because remember, it's almost a mile of back straight. So you want to get as hard on the throttle as you
So
can.
where do you brake going into this, or do you, because I noticed that there's I guess that's the last brake mark.
I've noticed that I've personally been braking when I'm going by that overhead advertisement thing.
Oh, so you're gonna pass the last brake marker and just you wait right until you're about to turn in then.
Yeah, that I start, like I let go of the throttle and start hard braking when I get to this thing. Which is a little nerve-wracking for me at least, right?
Yeah, it
Because
does
you're
seem
not
like
seeing a whole lot, farther from that. It's like, holy cow, am I able to actually, brake to it? But yeah, you are.
Well,
But-
you can trail brake on that one too, a little bit.
And you can
as
trail
long as
brake
you're
on it.
just,
Yes.
halfway on it.
That's right. But that's definitely a very sharp hairpin right? Letting it go and go and go, see how sharp, but then here, boom, you should be getting pretty hard on the throttle, and it's gonna push you to the edge of the track. And then here it's balls to the walls, you know,
Mm.
just, peg it, just peg it. And look up, look up and far away. That was a mistake that I made the first couple of times where I was like, looking at like, holy crap, I'm
It's not
going really
perfect
fast.
straight, right? It kind of curves.
Exactly, right? So, like I said, we're not doing this line anymore where you stay on the right, unless like if you're on a slower bike or you want to go slower, you stay on the right. And then everybody who wants to go fast, they will move left, go blazing fast by you, and then rejoin on the right. Always look down. You're always gonna see that that overhead thing there. That's usually when we get started there, a good brake marker. Like, okay, when you're getting to that thing, let go of the throttle, start braking. As you get used to it, you're gonna learn that you can go past that quite, some ways. But first get used to it, right? So as I worked with the instructor, he said, oh yeah, you can start looking at see how soon I was braking
There's
there?
a lot of space before braking.
There's a lot of room. So you guys saw how I slowed down here, and then I had to go back on the throttle because there's still so much to go.
Yeah.
Instructor said, you can look to the 200-meter mark to brake.
Break
And
that.
I'm like, you're crazy, dude. I'm not doing that. So I'm not pushing that far yet, but I am like passing the overhead thing, and I'm counting like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and then I go
One is
hard
zippy,
on
two is zippy. Oh!
something like that.
Mm.
Because there's like a, there, actually, now I see
One
what I'm
Valentino
looking
Rossi,
for.
2 Valentino Rossi.
Yeah. So the last time I was there, before this grade stand, there's like a something here. I don't know if it's like a track marshal thing or something. When I get to that point, I'm going hard on the brakes. Right? That's what's been working for me. I know that I can push it a little further, but I need to grow some more balls.
Yeah.
Because it is nerve
Increments,
wracking.
increments.
Yeah, because like in my case, my top has been like 148 miles per hour.
Really?
Yeah,
It's not
I was
too
even
far
number
off the line here,
155
so-
at TWS.
yeah, no, I got like too close to 150, and I'm getting here, it's like, holy cow, okay, I need to go on the brakes. I know that I can go faster, even more so if I drive harder, getting into the straight.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely, because I'm not getting out really hard, and also with the braking, I'm still trying to get used to it. And if I go like past, I don't know even if my bike goes tops 160, it may get to 160
Oh, yeah,
and
it
then
will. What year is it?
2001.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's a
600
no-
usually
yeah.
top out somewhere in the 150.
160,
Yeah.
165.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
electronics have been tweaked, so I have a little, like maybe 5 or 6 extra horsepower on it. But still, you have to get used to it, right?
Yeah, stay comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is nerve-wracking if you're not used to it.
You use your rear brake on this one,
No.
right? Oh, you don't?
I have never used my rear brake on track.
Yeah.
So here, this is probably number 1 mistake that people make at this track. Look at the guy I'm following, the line that he's gonna be taking. So he's hugging the candy stripe there,
He's more tight, yeah.
and he keeps hugging the stripe. Look where I am, I'm on the
Yeah.
right line, look where he is. He's doing the street riding style. He's
He's
hugging the right, and he's gonna,
Standing up or sitting up.
yeah, and he's gonna stay there. Check it out. Which, I mean, for me, it will make it easier. See
It
where
works
he is?
out.
Ah,
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's hugging all the way through, so I can go by him just fine. Because
Yeah.
that's the line, right? Even though it's a very weird setup, once you make that right-hander, it's a straight shot. Even though the track goes like this, it's a straight shot
Because
here.
it's a double A
Can you
face.
point that out?
Right?
If you can see it now.
Yeah, because he hit the X. You see it. He just.
Yeah, it's
went
there
over.
somewhere here. I just didn't
So there's
see it.
basically two routes you can take for that.
What turn is this one?
This is 14, right? So here,
Open it up.
see? So, as you come here, it's a straight shot, right? So some people will hug the candy stripe and go right and then left. No, you see that apex?
And you
Aim for it.
Yeah.
It's a straight shot.
These are not the S's. This is something else, right?
This is something else, it's not the S's. This is turn 13, 14, and then 15 is the next one in front of the grandstand there, right? which comes to that weird setup where you go straight, look at the line, and then you go like you're gonna go off the track, and
That's
then you
another
come back.
thing. That's another way to
Yeah,
speak,
'cause it's
yeah.
a double
Yeah.
apex, yeah.
Alright.
This is pretty weird.
That's those funky Z's that are so
It
hard.
is. And then here for the triple apex, once you've figured your corner entry, you turn in and you stay, turned in. It's one long sweep motion. You hit the first apex here, right? You drive off, and then you come back, right? Pretty close there, and then you drive off again. Now here, if they didn't fix it,
Yeah, it's hard
let
to
me
know,
tell
right?
you there's something about it.
More bumps?
Yes. And right
So are
on
they
the
gonna repair
apex.
the bumps? I mean, for GP?
Yeah, it would be really hard to run this track, like on the very first one without any of the rubber or.
So right
skid
here.
marks or anything, 'cause you have
Right here.
markers.
Right on this apex, the one on turn 18, right on the apex there's a bump. And it's not a huge one, but if you're leaning
Yeah.
and you hit that bump,
Yeah, it's
it is a little unset.
36 on MSRC.
Okay, so yeah, there was at least a little bump right on the apex, so you may need to be careful there. Here you drive off and then back, not how I didn't do it too well. Here they say it's a very fast corner, right, that you really don't brake, you just drop a gear and then you lean into it. I haven't been able to do it quite like that,
Yeah.
because as I'm coming like, I don't know, 100 miles an hour from the triple apex, I'm like pretty fast, and I'm like, okay, they say I just have to drop a gear and then commit to the left. No. I do go a little bit on the brakes, but it's the mental thing, right? I go on the brakes, and then as I'm tipping in, going by the apex and seeing how much room I have, it's like, yeah, I could be on the throttle. I should be on the throttle, right? Because that's what happens, right? Look at how much room you have here, right? To drive off, stay there, and then turn 20. We're almost there, guys. How much do you know about tires? I don't know much, right? I know they look round,
Yeah.
they are rubbery. So what I started doing is I started taking snapshots of my tire before and after. Like first time at COTA, I got brand spanking new tires, new shoes for the lady,
Nice.
right?
Baby.
Yeah. I log data, right? Right. So I take photos. I log what was the air temperature, what was the tire pressure, code, and hot. I gather all this information, and I have no idea what to do with it. But I have a close group of buddies, riding buddies, who I send this information to, and then they give me feedback. So I get with these guys, and they'll say, yeah, you can try like putting an extra pound or decreasing by 1 or 2 pounds the air pressure. Because I don't know. Right now, I do not know those things. Right? I know how to get on a bike and do some riding. So while I don't, I gather as much information as I can so I can send it over to people who can give me some guidance.
Yeah.
Cool. So another thing that I just started doing that Santiago actually participated on in Crescent is to do a beyond the track, at the track. So the idea is to put in practice the things that we talk about in these meetings here, come up with a plan to go to the track, beforehand. Get to the track, think about what you're going to be working on. Is it body position? Is it your corner entry into turn 12? Whatever it is, have that in mind before you go to the track. We get together there at the track, we share what we're going to be working on, we do our thing, we have a plan so you can show that to the instructor and say, because now the instructors are being more proactive on asking you, what do you want to work on? If you have a plan, it's not like, I just want to ride better.
Yeah.
No.
Be more specific.
Yeah, be more specific. If you are more specific, you're going to get a lot more,
Out of your-
out of your money there. So we do that, we share our findings, our experiences as we go, through the day. Oh man, I'm having trouble with turn whatever, with blah, 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 with this. Exchanging that information, not just going out to the track, ride, around in circles and then come back and get more out of it, right? So the idea, plan your track day, learn from instructors and other riders. So again, if you're asking other riders just how can you go faster, they're not gonna be able to help you. But if you are more specific, where exactly do you feel like you could go faster or whatever, talk to the other guys, you know, and share your experiences with others. So I'm gonna be doing that at COTA. If we could all like get in the same garage, that would be cool. So I'm getting
Can we
with
ask Dave and the team to put it in the car?
yes, so Dave is on board. I explained to him this idea and he said, yeah, let's try to do something like that. We can put all your guys in the same garage. He's gonna give us a 50% discount on the rental for the garage. You still pay the full amount when you register, and then if you really do what you said you're gonna be doing, which is come up with a plan, share with the other guys, work with instructors, then you qualify to get that 50% you paid back,
Oh, you get a refund.
right, a refund to work on your thing. And also, he said, Claudio, let's do it even better. The guy that does it better, like the guy who really works through his notes, works with multiple instructors, the instructors say, man, this guy,
Working on stuff.
he's working on the stuff, he's picking it up, he's trying what we are telling, that's the guy. So that guy's gonna win a free non-COTA track day. Right, so that's a way to encourage people to really see this as a riding school. It's not just an open track day, we're trying to go there to actually improve, right?
The only problem I have with that is that I've never been there, so I'm not gonna know exactly what I need to work on, except for, you know, what maybe the hardest parts of the track are, like the hairpins or the
Start with that.
or something,
So
yeah.
that would be your first
Yeah.
plan, learn the line.
So I'm curious, Claudio, how long did you spend preparing for, you know, for this with the various video watching and all, I guess your whole grocery list of stuff that you did? How many hours?
For the very first one, preparing like as far as learning the track, memorizing the track, that kind of stuff, maybe some 3 hours, 4 hours,
Okay.
which is, you know, like watching the videos,
Yeah.
sitting on my bike, maybe like 15, 20 minutes a day, just watching the video and exercising my legs, playing on the video game, like I put a timer and I play like for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, every other day or something like that, right? It's not like I don't have time to spend like weeks on it.
Mhm.
So whatever, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you know, an hour that I have here and there, okay, what can I do? Oh, I have 10 minutes, let me look at the map. Let me just stare at the map for 10 minutes. Turn 1, oh, it's step 1. Oh, the S's is 3 to 6. Because then when you're in class, instructors are gonna say, level 1 and 2, we don't want to see any passing between 3 and 10. So in my head, I'm already seeing what 3 and 10 is, right? So, but I only see that because I spend, you know, a couple of minutes looking at the stupid map, right? So, stuff like that. Right, so for that kind of stuff, so the idea behind doing something like this is like, well, I don't have a plan, I haven't been there. Let's talk about it. We can come up with a plan. Like I said, what I would do is, let me watch the videos, and then my plan going there, like the first couple of sessions will be to learn the line, make sure I understand where I'm supposed to be in the track. Once I've learned the line, what markers, what references could I use? It's like, when I look up, what should I look for? Oh, there's a tower that's in the same direction as the X that I don't quite see yet.
Yeah.
That's what I look for. It's like, okay, the X is hidden. Is there anything around if I look up? Oh, there's a tower there. It's in the same direction. If I find the tower, I know where the X is. That kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Coming up with that kind of plan. And then as you're working there, maybe it takes you like 2 sessions to figure that stuff out. Then move to the next thing. It's like, okay, which corner should I work on the hardest? Probably turn 11. Why is that? Why would you work more?
I have no idea.
Turn 11 is the one that comes right before the longest straight.
It's the
Oh,
first
so you
left
can
that you
get
have
more
the tire
speed.
called.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's
Well,
because that's where if you wanna like turn fast laps, that's where you have to work on. You have to look at your longest straights and how you get to it. Because turn 11 is a very hard one, it's a hairpin, and if you mess it up when you enter, you're not gonna get like a high top speed because you messed up the entry,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
right? So things like that to think about.
And then obviously you don't wanna go off in 12 because you didn't brake early enough on the straightaway, you're doing a buck 70 or whatever.
Exactly, right? So you may want, as part of your plan is, and that's something that the first instructor I've worked with that day, he said, maybe the first thing you should work on is find your brake marker on the back straight. That's the first thing. Go the first time around, okay, aim at that thing, brake there. See how much room you still have. If you're going back to the throttle, next time around, push the marker. Keep pushing the marker, just by, you know, a couple of feet. Find what that marker is. Wrapping up, COTA is awesome. I mean, I love it. To the point that I said I was gonna make later, even riding there like I did 4 times in level 1, it was the track that I felt allowed me to improve my riding the most. Why is that? Smooth surface, very few bumps. I mean, the bumps that we say that we have on the back straight and on turn 18, nothing compared to what we have in MSRC, MSR8, nothing like that. Very smooth, plenty of runoff area. So if you do run off the track, you don't have to be worried about, you know, hitting some potholes or some weird stuff that cars have, you know, sunk into. No, you just, okay, if you're coming in too hot on a turn, you just stand upright, you know, you drive off the track, it will slow you down, and then you come back. Right? You feel safe. Because you have that margin of safety, your mind